Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
With the big, bold flavour of HP sauce, making breakfast legendary.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alun, Cochrane, and Zoe Lyons is with us this morning. Z Lyons. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. What do you think? Via or via?
I'm a via. But then
Okay.
it's root or route, isn't it, as well? That's the other one.
No, but I think that I'm happy that route is American, but via and via, I've heard English people use both.
I said, yeah.
I'm writing a book about it called Aloe Via.
Oh, yeah.
No, not really. Hey, can I just begin?
Clarification. Not really.
This morning, because there's 3 comedians this morning, I want to tell you, I did a bit of a comedy first last night.
Really?
Yeah, which I heckled.
No.
Wow.
Have you ever heckled?
I don't think I have, in a sort of true, pure heckling way.
Well, it was a slightly I wasn't actually heckling a comic, but it felt like a proper heckle. I have to say, I suddenly saw the lure of it.
Oh, yeah.
Where were you? At a play?
I was at a wedding.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Oh,
And
really?
it was during the groom's speech.
Was it the... it was the groom's speech, that's fine. I thought it was the... Is there any reason... Is there anything who has any reason... You're suddenly thinking, that could be funny right now.
I always have... Do you have a slight rush of adrenaline when they say that?
Oh,
it's a
totally.
tense moment.
Yeah. You could really ruin somebody's day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So...
Which is thrilling, isn't it? I mean, it's a thrilling prospect.
It is. It's like, sometimes... I had a friend who used to say that when she walked over a bridge, she always thought, oh, what if I jumped over that now?
Yeah.
I get that when I walk past kids with packets of crisps. Just a massive urge to nick the crisps.
Did you used to be Gary Lineker?
In a previous life.
Yes. So anyway, it was one of those bits where it gets a bit sentimental in the speech as well.
Oh,
So the groom was up there, and he said, and then we moved in together, and then pretty soon she got pregnant, and I shouted, "Legend!"
Did you?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I have to say, got a good laugh, but also something that I wouldn't normally do after a gig. I went around after, and I said to about 4 or 5 people, "Did you hear my?" Which I'd never say, "Did you hear my funny joke?" on, because you can't. I might say.
Well, you do.
I do. Actually, I do say it. I'll say that.
Say it in the cafe every week after we've done this show.
But there's something exhilarating about it. You feel you can brag about a heckle because it's it's an extra. It's not part of the entertainment.
There's a lot of good layers to it. I like the fact that as you shouted "legend," you became a legend in the room. There's something very nice about that.
It was incredibly
Did he have any
exhilarating.
comeback? Did he come back at you at all?
No, he left a short pause for the laugh to run out, which I thought was good.
I thought you were going to say he left.
No.
No, he left. He just went. Couldn't go through with it under
Left
the pressure.
bride.
I think part of him probably enjoyed the sort of being a fertility legend. You know those blokes that walk around with kids sitting on their shoulders, saying "I'm fertile."
Yeah.
Fertility legends.
I've done it
That's their new
myself.
nickname now.
Yeah, I'm going to start shouting at those blokes, "Fertility legend." It was
But
good.
if you're going to be heckled by anybody, it's you I'd want to be heckled by.
Thank you, Zoe. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
It's true, though, isn't it? You think, well, if I'm ever going to be heckled, at least I've been done by the best.
I know. Someone asked me if I'd got a present at the wedding, and I said I thought me being here would be enough. What am I turning into?
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
I was going to read you an email that we've received, actually.
Do you want to get to the corner, or shall we not?
Yeah, if you like to, yeah.
Oh, no, I get
You're
to
the
the
boss, pal.
Why don't we? Let's go traditional.
Press it if you want.
Email corner.
Loud, isn't it? Loud.
That was
jingle.
really loud.
Great acoustics in that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dear Frank, Emily and Alan, sorry Zoe.
That's all right.
It arrived a few
In
weeks
brackets,
ago, I
I'd
think.
have changed it to your name just as for diplomacy, but
Sorry about
you can't.
I can't think on the hoof, that's my trouble. To mix metaphors a bit. Having experienced firsthand the university culture whereby the cringing misuse of the term legend was rife.
Yes. What are you getting at?
I think we know about that, don't we? It's been refreshing to hear your recent and previous ridicule of the phenomenon and how it belittles the true historical giants of the world.
Did we ridicule it?
I think you, both on this show and perhaps in your stand-up, mentioned somebody shouting legend out of a van, and you were next to a statue of King Arthur.
No,
were you
it wasn't a statue of King Arthur, it was King Arthur.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's why they shouted legend. I wonder why you didn't laugh. I could see you were in a pool of light.
It's been refreshing
That's
to hear
throwing
your
in
recent
guilt.
and previous... I've lost my track of...
No.
Lost the plot.
Given that
You've
heaven
fallen
is...
off the
Oh,
hoof.
here we go. Given that heaven is presumably a place with intergenerational commingling, it got me picturing multiple scenes where actual legends perform mundane acts now considered legendary. More specifically, I'm picturing King Arthur downing a pint of cider, Hercules pinching a traffic cone whilst Beowulf... Would you say Beowulf?
I'd say, what was I saying?
Beowulf.
Beowulf.
Yeah. Mischievously moons an angel, each receiving the collective adulation of a group of nearby youths unironically chanting, "Legend! Legend! Hercs you ledge!" etc. Can you think of any other examples of actual legends partaking in such pseudo-legendary acts? Long-term listener, first-time writer, Max, Brommy Architect in New York.
Brommy Architect in New York.
As Sting once sang.
Yes.
Sort of.
What about that? Oat cakes. Remember that Sting song? He went a bit folky.
Oat cakes?
Oat cakes.
No.
As in oat cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was he doing with them?
He was just singing
Probably
about
something
them.
horrible knowing
I think
Sting,
there was
wasn't
snow.
it?
There was snow in the video. It was one of those.
Oh, dear.
Oat cakes. Oat. You're right, Sting. I'm fine. I'm just having some oat cakes, man. Oh yeah. So, well, I haven't had a shower for 5 years.
He hasn't had a shower?
No, he doesn't shower, does he?
Doesn't
He doesn't shower?
No, he's got this. He just robs in. I think he gets in, stands in the sink, and Trudy Steiner robs him down with half a fire brick.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. He doesn't shower. It's part of the whole tantric lifestyle.
How can showering be offensive to
I don't think it's
tantric
offensive.
lifestyle?
The idea is we just don't need it.
Oh, I think we do.
the
I came here
body-
on the tube this morning. I can tell you categorically we do need it. Not me, people around me.
Well, you're sitting next to Sting.
I was the stink. Yeah.
That's what they call him now, Sting.
It's a tribute
That's why
act.
in the video he has all those candles
Yeah.
around him to burn up the carbon monoxide.
It's a really rubbish wedding singer tribute act. Stink.
Okay. I don't know that one. Anyway, we'll come back to this in a second, but we have obligations as a commercial radio station.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I've had a text slightly chastising you, Frank. It's from 002. I cannot believe you used your own email corner jingle, Frank. How can you just forget Emily like that?
No,
I think you might have played the old one.
Yeah, I did. It was me actually on vocals. That's quite right. But I never made. Someone made it. They grasped the moment. But yeah, I stand reprimanded. We also, by the way, we haven't really responded to that email
Oh yeah,
about
Hercules.
legends doing stuff that's legendary. I like the idea of, let's say, Bigfoot. Covered in cling film, manacled to a war memorial on his stag night. Legend.
Yeah.
Why cling film?
Isn't that what they do to people on their
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
But I think he would
You
look
live
like...
in Brighton, you must have seen some stag night.
I've never seen a Yeti cling film.
Bigfoot's not a Yeti, is he?
Isn't it? He is. He's, yes, he
Sunsplit
is.
hairs.
No, I think... No, that's the abominable snowman.
Aren't they all the same thing?
No, Bigfoot is... I don't think he's a
Getting the legends
Yeti.
intertwined.
He's a
Oh,
big,
no.
tall, slightly... He's like the missing link, I think.
What's the other word for him? Some squatch.
I don't know if...
Sasquatch.
That's right.
Made up.
Sasquatch.
Because he squashes the sand with his big feet.
Yeah. Sand squasher.
It's not Sasquatch. What's the other word for Yeti? Sasquatch.
No, a Yeti is the abominable snowman.
Yeah.
Sasquatch is probably Bigfoot.
Oh, no, I genuinely thought they were the same thing. That's right. I'm glad you told me
Made
this,
a complete fool of yourself.
if I ever meet any of them at a cocktail party, I'd have really put my massive foot in that. So,
Have you never seen the Web of Fear?
no.
The Doctor Who six-parter?
Frank.
The Yetis are in that. Of course, they turn out to be...
Big
They've
feet.
sort of got metal bits.
There's a lot of homework involved in doing this show. You have to watch a lot of Doctor Hugh. You know,
Doctor Hugh?
Doctor Hugh.
Doctor Hugh
I've said
would
Doctor
be...
Who
Very
before.
English adventure.
That'd be a good parody, wouldn't it?
I
if
knew
it
what
was,
I was going to say.
If it was a bloke called Doctor Hugh.
Yeah.
There must be a Doctor Hugh
And
somewhere.
there'd be some evil robots in it called the Derricks. All just slightly wrong.
I feel a
The
bit...
cider men. They all come. All right, it's great here. I like this planet. Hey. Well, I'll tell you what I saw last night. I was walking home and I saw the Tooth Fairy completely destroying a bus stop with a lump of concrete. And I went, legend.
Very good.
You know what? This thing about the legend thing, which it says we criticised it, I think there's something brilliant about it.
Yeah?
Because I think that the people who do it, even though they're doing it in that legend way, they're actually tuning in to the very root of mythology.
Yeah.
That someone does an incident, and then it's built up and built up and built up in a sort of an oral tradition till it becomes something amazing and almost supernatural. And that's how the original legend started. And now, when Bill goes with two barmaids in a night,
Yeah.
that story gets built up. It becomes 10. Bill becomes more drunk, more legend.
Telling the story to his grandchildren years
Yeah,
down
so
the
actually
line.
they are building legends, like as legends were always built. Good night.
Very. It's BBC4, you aren't you, as well?
Yeah,
Well,
I've got a
it's
bit of
kinda-
that in me.
Yeah, haven't you?
It's in me. I try
What's
to
the
keep.
female equivalent then? I don't think girls shout legend at each other.
I know you're right. Actually,
No,
if there's
it's
any female legends, listening, or who've called out, I'd like to know
Yeah,
that.
I
'cause
don't know. Yeah,
that again, I think in Brighton you would have heard that because there's a lot of hen parties
there's
going
a
around.
lot of hen parties go around Brighton. There is a lot.
But it's not the same as it wearing a PVC nurse outfit when you're the 51-year-old auntie. People don't go legend.
No.
No.
They get worried, don't they?
Well, I personally go, she's all right. But that's an age thing, I think.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Somebody has texted in to put me out of my misery, and it's Sasquatch. Anonymously they have texted in, but thank you very much. It's Sasquatch is the other word for a Yeti or Bigfoot.
No, it's not
Yes.
the Yeti. It is not
Yes.
the Yeti.
I think Sasquatch sounds like something an American would say to describe a pumpkin, though. It's sort of, you could confuse you if you went round for dinners. You know, sometimes they like zucchini.
Yes.
And, so, we're having Sasquatch. We're going to have some Sasquatch.
I always like
turkey.
that eggplant. What is eggplant?
Eggplant. Aubergine.
Is aubergine, isn't it?
Aubergine.
Yum.
You want eggplant?
No.
I went to a what do they call there? Not Independence Day.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving Day. I went to one of those dinners with Americans living in London where, like, the man of the house wore a suit and tie at the table and all
Excellent.
that. I quite liked it. I like any excuse
Yeah.
for...
They have turkey then, don't they?
Oh, any excuse for poultry. That's
Yeah.
my motto in life.
I
Yeah.
once had a Thanksgiving dinner in the States, and we had deep-fried turkey.
Whoa.
It's brilliant. It was so American. They took a barrel out into the
good.
garden, filled it full of oil, drilled a hole into a turkey, and then dipped it in hot fat in a oil barrel. And it was surprisingly tasty.
I think that's our first turkey drilling anecdote.
would be
When they
certain.
drill into a turkey, you know the stuff that comes out when you drill. That
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
wire. Is that what a turkey twizzler is?
That's what you make
Is,
of it.
is it turkey carcass drilling?
It's drill bits.
Deep fried.
Yeah.
That anecdote was only sparked by the fact you said the States.
Yeah. Well, it was Alaska.
I did that last
but it is
week.
the States.
I know, but when people say the States, I always
sorry.
He
think...
gets in one of his huffs.
The US of A.
He did it last week.
US of A, I think, is more... Even though that's terrible, it's more acceptable. The US of A. That's like the AB of C, the Archbishop of Canterbury. Anyway, before we came on air, when Zoe arrived this morning, she looked like a broken soul.
Yes.
Because of a gig she'd had last night. So, of course, me and Alan are desperate to hear about it. We love to hear of other comedians suffering.
That's the glorious thing about comedians, isn't it? They never want to hear about the good ones. They always want to hear about the bad ones. My week has been beautifully bookended because I had one of the best gigs I've ever done.
Okay, well,
in a
that's
lovely
that
environment.
anecdote done.
So forget about that.
Yeah.
Gone.
Quite a big room. It went really well.
All right.
Marvellous. Other end of the spectrum.
Mazel tov. But carry on.
Pub last night in Surrey. And I don't know if you've ever had the experience of walking into a room and just going, this is not gonna go my way. This is not gonna go well at all. And they were all drinking Jaeger bombs before they even started.
Oh, dear.
If the audience are already drinking Jaeger bombs before it's even started, and then were annoyed when they had to sit down because the comedy was on, they had to stop talking.
Oh, yes.
And then when I got on stage, and they were just annoyed that I was there, just that look in their face of...
When I first started, I was given the advice, never do comedy in a town where they point to aeroplanes.
It was a bit like that.
Yeah.
A little bit like... I have to say, half the room were absolutely delightful. The other half of the room, we really weren't going to bond. And there was almost a fight. I nearly caused a fight. At the first time in a long time. Because there was a guy who couldn't even look at me. He couldn't even bring himself to look at me. He just looked at the floor. He was like, I'm not even... There's a bird on stage. I'm not even... if I don't look at it, it will go away. If I just keep my eyes away from it, it'll just go away. Why hasn't she gone away? And I could see him thinking, how do I get rid of it? Rent a kill? How am I going to get rid of it?
To be fair to him, he might have been the victim of a botched lynching.
Possibly.
And his head is always, like, twisted horribly in that direction. Could you see any rope marks?
Do you know, I didn't even consider that.
The botched lynching.
Do you know, it didn't
See,
even
that's-
cross my
that's
mind.
it
And
with
now
me.
I feel like an idiot.
That's it with me. I always give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Frank's got such a positive outlook. It's his coping strategy for all the tough gigs he's had in his
Exactly.
life.
Yes, I've got an excuse for every bit of hostile crowd behaviour.
It unravelled, though, like a piece of sort of 50-year-old rope around, you know, just unravelled.
Oh, dear.
And then somebody at the back went, why don't you just shut up, to the bloke who kept heckling me? And then he just turned around with that look just that look in his eye and went, want some? And I was like, oh God, there's going to be a fight. Oh God. And it was in that moment I realised I don't actually know what to do in this situation. And I just stood on stage going, please don't fight, please don't fight, please don't fight. More love, not peace. More love, 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 don't fight.
You didn't consider, let's get ready to rock.
In the blue corner.
So did they fight?
No, they didn't. But the tension was building,
Not even
and
pushy.
not even a little bit. No, because of the chair arrangement.
That it can be
Thank
difficult
God
to start
for
a
that.
fight when there's road seating, can't it?
The
Yeah, that's why
chair-
they brought in all-seater stadiums.
Yeah, good point.
It's not. I don't think it's the worst gig I've ever had. I once had to leave down the fire exit.
Excellent.
We had to go through the kitchen and down the fire exit. The floor manager came in and went, I don't think you better go out the front. And I went, why? He went, somebody's ripped out the toilet and it's going to be a fight. So we had to run down the fire exit, and then I ran across the car park as police cars were arriving.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Well, I often live by the fire exit, but only because I don't want to be mobbed.
Me too, for different reasons.
Same problems apply.
That was the whole thing. The audience were with me all the way, but I managed to lose them at the railway station.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I'd like to ask your advice on this. I got my son. I have a 3-year-old son, Zoe. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yes.
Called Buzz, and after Aldrin, and I got him something to play with this week, which I'm interested in the psychological. It's when we used to do. When we've done Room 101 in the past, which is this show I do on BBC One, we have these things called Frank dolls,
Yeah.
which are like Action Men, but they've got my face. And we're not using them on the new series, so they gave me them. So I thought, I'll give him one of these to play with. What do you think about that? So he's got his own dad action figure.
Dad doll.
Yeah. Dad doll. And I just wondered about... I mean, the truth is, he could put me in a series of awkward or embarrassing situations.
Or deadly. Yeah. I mean, you know, sometimes heads come off normal action men, but if your dad is being ripped apart, this could be quite troubling.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing.
What size is Dad doll? Is it just your regular sort of
it's
Barbie size?
Action man size. The head's slightly bigger, so that it looks like me.
Yeah, good.
Because my head is slightly bigger, I admit to that. I mean, physically. But yeah, so... I don't know what... I don't want to be in a situation where I've got an action man kneeling behind me and one in front pushing me over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it did strike me that this is a dilemma that bears must have all the time.
Explain.
Well, because they get their children...
Teddies.
Zoe, I was prepared to wait for you. I was prepared to wait for you, darling.
Thank you. Satellite delay. I've had very little sleep after that gig last night. There's been a lot of tossing and turning. Not in a good way.
It reminds me that Bob Monkhouse had this joke he told me about when I worked with Bob.
You've worked with them all, sorry.
I've worked with them all. He said that he had a joke where he would say, "Oh, I love these animal biscuits they sell at Marks and Spencer's. They're my favourite things, animal-shaped biscuits." He said, and I got a box of them, I was really looking forward to it. And then it said on the box, "Do not eat if the seal is broken." And he said, and would you believe it? And he said to me, I do that joke early on, and it tests the audience, because sometimes I can say, "Do not eat if the seal is broken," and they laugh, and I think this is going to be a good night. They're in there. He said, sometimes I have to say, "And would you believe it?" And then they laugh, and I think they'll be all right. He said, and sometimes I have to say, "When I took the top off, the seal-shaped biscuit was broken." and if they laugh, then you think, right, this is going to be like climbing a sheer cliff.
Oh, I've never had one of those testing jokes. People always talk about their testing jokes to see how a crowd is.
My testing opening line is, "Good evening." And if it goes well from then that's fine. Last night I should have known from the get-go this isn't going to go well.
Well, one of these dolls, which is Action Man-sized, he's in pyjamas. So what I thought of doing was saying to Kath, "I'm off to bed now, but I'm just going to try this new shower gel that a scientist sent into the radio show."
Honey, I Shrunk the Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
What was the best day of your life?
Be a good texting. Yeah, don't you think that'd be a good texting?
I think it'd just, lots of people going, "Oh, the day I married the love of my life."
I think people feel they have to say marriage or the birth of a child. Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
No. Are you married?
I am married. It was a fine day.
Fine.
It was a fine day, but it wasn't the best day, because I don't...
Right, okay.
Just fine.
No, it was a lovely day. It was a really lovely day.
It sounds like a weather report.
Yeah. I liked it better when it was fine. How was your wedding day? Fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
like drizzle. Fine.
Yeah.
Listen, I had the generation gap. You've heard of that?
Yes. Yeah.
Apparently it still exists. I was talking to a young woman, what I work with, the other day, and she was off to get lunch, and I said, "Are you passing a paper shop?" And she said, "What, like what, stationery?" I said, "No, a paper shop." No idea at all. Now, I thought that was a universal term. I'm slightly worried that you were both looking a bit confused.
Newsagent.
A newsagent, yeah.
Newsagent.
Yeah.
But I thought everybody knew. Has that actually died out, paper shop?
She might have been very... she might have only heard people say newsagents, and when you said paper shop, she might have been picturing a shop made of paper, perhaps.
A shop made of paper?
Yeah.
What, people who live in shops made of paper shouldn't throw torches?
Yeah, exactly.
Scissors. Yeah.
Scissors, yeah.
I really thought that it was... So, I mean, it's you knew this. You knew it's dying out.
I wouldn't have called it the paper shop.
Okay. Yeah. What I like about this is if you actually stand back and analyse the word news agent.
Yeah.
It does make people who run a paper shop sound a bit grand. An agent of the news.
Peddling
coming
in
here
news
for
ways.
news.
Yeah,
And
especially in the
can have a
digital
Fanta
era.
orange as well. I've come in here for news. Yeah, just 2 school kids at once, please. They don't feel like agents of the news, do they?
Do you know what I saw this morning at the very early hours as I made my way here?
Was it an audience member with a hatchet still following?
Still trying to locate me.
Following your bicycle.
Yeah, bicycling back to Brighton. Go back to Brighton on your bicycle, but it's wind powered. This actually, no, I saw a milk cart.
Oh,
yeah.
those were the
Now
days,
that's news shop paper shop.
Yes.
Timings, isn't it?
Well, I also, this was a few months back now, I used the word about, I said it's next to I was on about this school, and I said it's right next to the picture house.
Oh.
And they again looked.
Did you really?
Like,
Picture house.
Picture house.
like it might be an art gallery.
Snappy snaps.
He was in Dulwich. He was in Dulwich next to the gallery.
It's a cinema. It's a cinema.
The talkies.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, if there was one in Torquay, that'd be confusing.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alun Cochrane, and Zoe Lyons is with us this morning. You can text our little show on 81215, follow the show on the social networking site Twitter, at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
You said Twitter, that you spat it out.
No, I know it serves a purpose.
Well, you'd be glad if, because Charlotte has just tweeted in to say,
Okay.
I have only ever heard of paper shop in my circles, and I am only 28. So
There you go.
go, Frank. There you go.
Here you go. So it's not something that only older people.
No. We've also had a text in. We're using all the different communications
Yeah,
here.
wow, what's next? I've just had a Xerox
Yeah.
come in from a local newsagent.
You improvised one of our text-ins earlier when you said, I wonder what people's best day of their life is. And 240 has texted, best day of my life, just got me in the mood for celebrations, 50 today. Incidentally, one of the worst days of my life was Frank's opening night in Edinburgh last year. Hang on, don't panic. I bought my very ex-boyfriend tickets for his birthday to see you, and we had a bust-up in the pub, and he stormed off with the tickets and went in without me.
Oh.
Capital letters on without. Still traumatised and finished a 5-year relationship. Fact. She finishes.
I think she could have gone as far as hashtag fact, which is something I heard that Atomic Kitten woman say on Celebrity Big Brother.
Oh, did she?
last year. She said, let's get one thing right. Great Britain is better than America. Hashtag fact. At least she didn't say the States. To her,
US of A.
to her eternal credit. Apparently she has eternal credit as well, which is a tremendous
good.
advantage in life.
That's great.
Yeah,
She
I mean,
must
you can run up some
you could go
biggies with
crazy
that.
in a department store, couldn't you?
Before.
We've had a text.
I did in the Macy's, the changing room at Macy's on Fifth Avenue.
Oh, I don't know if we want to
In the
know.
No, I
States.
can't. No, you're right. I can't
We
tell
do
this on
not
air.
want to
Carry
know
on.
that. I think you might have told it on air before. Actually.
I haven't told it on air, have I?
I think you might have. Anyway,
in what context was that? A show of
Tidied up.
lewd reminiscences.
tidied up context, I think, yeah. George from Bexley, 002, has texted, can I just clarify with you after last week's twinned towns that Swindon is 100% twinned with Disney World, Florida, and not
brilliant.
Paris.
We thought it was a joke, didn't we? We
Yeah,
thought
we
it was
really
a
did.
disparaging remark. But
Yeah.
Swindon is twinned with Disneyland, Florida.
Yeah, and he says it's not a dig at Swindon, and
Maybe
Frank-
it's a dig at Disneyland, Florida.
It sounds like it is in a way. Disneyland Florida's taking quite a hit on that, I would say. And he says it's he doesn't know if it's due to the Magic Roundabout. I don't know what that means.
The Magic Roundabout is that roundabout in Swindon, when
is it in
every
Swindon, that?
exit is a mini roundabout.
Right.
It's huge. It's like a string of DNA.
Yeah.
It really is massive and very confusing.
It
and
is.
I've been round Swindon and got lost and thought I can't be dealing with this, and have just, I think road roughshod over 5 mini roundabouts. I think that's
Yes,
the way to...
but mini roundabouts are like shadows in that at night they no longer exist. You can just go straight over them. It's
Are they
fine.
more a suggestion?
Yeah, exactly. They're a hint. They're a swerving suggestion.
Swerving suggestion. Very good.
Oh God, really? Sometimes I just
It just comes out, doesn't it? It's amazing.
Anyway, yes, they are swerving suggestions.
I wonder where it's twinned with Western Supermare's Dismal Land, then, if that
The trouble is with that, that's temporary, isn't it? You don't
Yeah.
get twin with anywhere temporary. I mean, one could never be certain, of course. But no, I thought if it's a twin town, it has to be a town. Is Disneyland Florida a town? Is it a bit like Vatican City or something like that? But
I think it is a bit like the Vatican City, yeah.
Very similar to the Vatican
I think we
City.
could just end it there. I think it is, yeah.
I wonder if it's actually
The
twin
roller
with...
coasters in the Vatican City are better.
I wonder if they got a letter from the mayor of Khartoum suggesting they twin, and there was just a bit of Chinese whispers at the Swindon Town Hall.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
A cake has come into the studio.
Oh, goodness.
It's all going to be Test match special.
It's been carried by a person. It's not a cake has just walked in.
No.
It's a miracle.
Charlie has brought in a cake.
Charlie, or for our French listeners, Charles, has brought in a cake. I don't know what's French for cake. Any offers?
Gâteau.
Gâteau.
In the ghetto.
Gâteau.
Yes, so a cake. Zoe, it's your birthday.
It is my birthday.
Today?
Yeah.
It's your birthday.
Fantastic.
It's my birthday.
I wonder why I signed that
birthday.
card. I just put best wishes, Frank Skinner.
All the best in your new job.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, because you're not coming back, are you, madam?
Oh,
There better be a fiver in there. Get yourself something nice, treacle.
Oh, that used to be brilliant when a card
Whip
used to come
round.
with a fiver in it.
oh yeah, excellent.
Or even a pound note.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pound note from your nan.
See, I got pound notes for a lot longer than most people because most of my family are Scottish, so the pound note carried on there.
Oh, I thought you were making some terrible racist remark about
About how frugal they are.
Yeah.
No, not at all. That wouldn't be my style. Are they still going, pound notes?
Scottish
No,
people
they've gone.
definitely still going.
No.
Some could say
Pound notes. Pound notes still in
they're
Scotland.
on the crest of a wave at the moment.
Yeah, arguably.
Pound notes, no.
Really? Not even in Scotland? I thought they
No,
might
they're
still have
gone.
them.
They're
Gone, totally
Yeah.
gone. But not forgotten, as I think this chat is proving.
No. Paper shops, pound notes. It's getting
Anyway.
like last of the summer wine, this
It's a
thing.
cracking
You've got
thing.
cake. I'm drinking hot chocolate.
Aren't
I
you?
mean, what's going on?
I've got a hot chocolate with cream on. Oh, yeah.
I hate these comedians always have to top
Yeah.
what you've got.
Look what you got and just added to it.
Especially when they
Frank.
top it with cream.
Hey,
I'm a lactose legend. That's what's happening here.
lactose legend.
we,
She doesn't mean she's really busty. She means she's having cream. That would be
I
great.
would love it if that was my nickname.
Oh,
Here
yeah.
she comes, Lyons, the lactose legend.
Do you think that's what the hen
yeah.
knights are shouting at each other after
Yeah.
all?
Oh, man. That's what you shout at Lucy Pinder. Lactose legend. Lucy Pinder, that almost feels older than Paper Shop.
I think it does, yeah.
I've lost touch with the glamour girls.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, very much so.
I made a tactical error on Sunday evening. I performed a stand-up gig, and a comic was on and said, "Oh, don't," he said to the promoter, but in earshot of me, "I don't suppose there's anybody on that's driving back to Manchester." And I went, "I'll give you a lift, lad. Don't worry, I'll give you a lift home." And I actually said in front of the promoter and the lad, I went, "The only thing that I ask is that you just put on social media that I'm a nice guy, and that's all I request is that you mention on the Twitter that I'm a nice guy." I was kidding.
Yeah.
But then I rued it because I got up the next morning and realised that I'd missed that super blood moon thing that I'd actually made a mental note to stay awake for and see. You know, the moon turned red on Sunday night, Monday morning.
Yes.
And I'd been driving the previous 3 nights, 2 gigs, thinking, wow, it's a full moon, it's so bright. And then I remembered, there's going to be that thing that night. I should stay up and watch it. And so I completely missed it.
But why did the lifts home have an effect on you missing it?
Because I forgot all about it by doing a good deed, and so I've made it as a new resolution that I'll just never help anyone ever again.
Yes.
Leave them by the side of the
And
road.
that'll help my astronomy career, I think.
So I think I read that you won't do another good deed for 33 years.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was the Red Moon. That's when the next time it comes around.
Yeah, something
That's
like
how often Alun does a good... Well, at least it'd be a great... When people say, do you remember that Red Moon thing? You'll say, well, I was doing a good deed.
Yeah. Missed out.
I didn't see the red moon. I saw it before it went red.
The white moon.
We all
Yeah,
saw
the
it before it went
I've
red.
seen loads of them. Hold the front
on the
page.
Spent my whole life seeing it
On the
before
night
it went
was
red.
due to go red. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
it was
it's
pretty
amazing.
impressive. But a lot of the pictures in the press of the red moon, I think, were slightly enhanced. It was like the moon
Do you?
had it was like the moon had sort of really done a very good profile pic of itself, like enhanced its sort of Facebook picture. We go, you're not really that good looking. That's not what you look like. Because there was a picture of it over Brighton Beach, and it just looked massive. It looked like a scene from Star Wars. I went,
Yeah.
it didn't look like that.
No,
You've
well,
You
used
know
a
what, though? They
huge
did do
lens.
lots of photos of it in different locales. There's one in, like, you know, a place in California, and it occurred to me that the moon might be the original photo bomber.
Oh, yeah?
Because it is in the background of tons of pictures of other stuff, isn't it? It's,
Well, you're
getting in
right.
there.
I saw it through very squinty eyes because I'd gone up. I'll be straight with you, to urinate, and so I was just a pajama jacket walking back. I know it's a good image. And
Just the top.
Yeah, just the top.
Okay.
And
more than one moon that night.
Yeah. So the moon was looking through my window. I assumed it was just embarrassed. That's why it took on that colour.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text. I think we're going to return to the moon in a moment, but we've had a text
God,
from
I wish we would return
Trev
to the moon.
in Crowborough. Where's that? Frank.
Can't say that about people's homes.
No, it was
it's West
more
Sussex.
information gathering. Where's Crowborough? Could be the north, could be the south.
It's either Kent or West Sussex.
Oh,
No, hang on. Never eat shredded wheat. East Sussex.
Excellent.
Thank you from our geography expert.
Frank, I think I know the paper shop you're talking about. Is it the one right next to the Cobblers? So he knows it. He knows the one you're on about.
Yeah, what's a cobbler?
You're the candlestick maker.
Oh, yes. I don't understand that, but I like anyone who joins in.
He's joined in, and he's picked an old school shop. That's,
Yeah,
I think
but you
that's
still
as much
get
as there is.
cobblers, don't you?
Yeah.
Aren't they still called cobblers?
No.
Yeah,
Well, are
they
they?
combined it with key cutting a lot of the time. haven't
Yeah,
they?
and they're called sports trophies.
Yes. Yeah.
There's the three things you need all at the same time, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Often. I've locked myself out and I've won the league.
It's the sort of thing you celebrate winning the league and say you get a bit drunk, lose your keys, and throw your shoes at opposing fans. Yeah. So that's why. What else today? That's a good texting. What else can one get in a cobbler's shop apart from shoes mended, sports trophies, and
Umbrellas.
keys cut?
Umbrellas.
Umbrellas.
This-
They do a lot of
yes, I don't want you to answer it all.
I've got another one.
Let 'em
No
play a
idea
bit.
of audience, but go on then.
Pet tags.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Do they engrave in those
Yeah.
shops?
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they do to the sports trophies, isn't it?
And if your pets won a trophy,
Anyway,
Best dog.
yes, does the man in the moon? He's still there, isn't he?
yeah,
If
yeah.
you believe.
No, but you can see. I don't mean God. I mean that face that appears to be on the moon.
If you believe
That's
they
not
put a
God.
man
You
on
knew
the
that,
moon.
don't you? And before you say anything, it's not the Yeti.
Sasquatch.
No.
Sasquatch.
Bless you. But I've all my life I've looked to the man in the moon and thought, how great that the man in the moon is up there like that. Can you still call it? You'll know about this. You live in Brighton.
Yeah.
Do we have to call it the person in the moon?
The personage
Yeah.
in the moon.
Yeah.
The person of nondescript gender in the moon.
Yes.
No, it's definitely it's a bloke in the moon, isn't it?
Well, it could be a person. I'm happy to call it the person in the moon.
He looks like a man, though.
Well, I don't know. I've always liked women that look like men. I am.
With a big moon face.
Yeah, they're my favourites. Emma Brontes. Not Emma Brontes, God, that's a friend of mine. She has not got a moon face. I meant to say Emma Bunton. If Emma Brontes is listening, she'll be furious. She's a personal
She
friend
might
of
well.
mine.
She might
has
well.
not got a moon face, can I say that? Oh, wow. Phew, it's hot in there, isn't it? Is it the hot chocolate? I don't know. Oh, dear.
It's always dangerous ground if you're describing women who are the size of planets. I'm not saying it's
Has the
size
sun got anything? You can't look at the sun, can
No.
you? That's
You're not really meant to, are you?
The sun could have a Banksy on it for all we know. You can never have a proper look at the sun. That's what I hate about the sun.
It's so, it's elitist.
Too bright.
Yeah.
Can't look at it. I told you I watched an eclipse through a bin liner once.
You did, yeah.
And it takes some of the glamour out of the whole thing. At least with a lunar eclipse, you can relax into it a bit. Especially if you're only wearing a pyjama top.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text from Ian in Farnborough saying watch batteries and straps, common bedfellows of rehealing shoes and engraving trophies.
Watch battery. Oh, I remember
Yeah,
that.
you can get a watch battery.
In Edinburgh, there was a sign on a shop that said watch batteries fitted, and I thought, well, I don't have the time.
Yeah, you're a busy man, aren't you?
Yeah, but is it that spectacular? Yeah, I tell you,
You having a
Can I
scratch?
say I wasn't that impressed by the red moon?
Well,
I still think I was half asleep.
I thought it looked good in red.
It's one of those moments when I thought I can either watch this or I can watch the inside of my eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
And the latter can be incredibly appealing at that time in the morning. So I had a quick look up. And
And that did you?
and that was it. That was it for me.
Apparently some people saw it as a sign of the end of the world.
What, a man in just a pyjama jacket?
It was that disturbing, Frank. Yes. They thought this is the apocalypse is upon us.
How did they arrive at that? It's quite a leap, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that symbolise the end of the world. Do you remember, like, 2012 or something was supposed to be...
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
the Millennium Bug and all that stuff.
Millennium
Yeah.
Bug,
Well, I liked-
decimalisation.
I like the fact that in the paper that I read...
Who shot JR?
Yeah. In the paper that I read, they didn't refer to it as the end of the world. They kept referring it as the end of days.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
people thought it was the end of days, and I thought, what, night? Isn't that the end of days? So when people
they were
are on
right, it
night
was
shift in a
night.
factory, they should be saying, I work end of days, me. Yeah,
But
I'm
I
on the
thi-
end of days, innit?
That is generally true of the moon. The moon is end of days.
Yeah.
I'd go so far now, and you can quote me on this, I'd say the moon was basically nocturnal.
yeah. Although he does occasionally make an appearance during the sunshine.
does, why
Ah,
do you...
thrilling.
How does that happen?
Love it.
Because I've never, ever seen the sun at night. The sun sticks to its hours. It's quite
Yeah.
rigid.
Moon
You know what I
occasionally
mean?
just pulls a double shift,
It's
doesn't it?
out of there. The moon will just hang around. The moon's one of those people who doesn't have much of a home life.
Well, isn't that what they call moonlighting, where you have a second job?
Oh,
So that's
what it is, isn't
so
it? All
yeah, it's
links
doing a
to
little
the-
bit
The moon is... Because I remember saying on this show, one of the great job shares ever is the sun and the moon. But the sun is very strict about his hours.
Yeah.
The moon... It could be what... I was bringing Buzz back from Little Kickers, which is this, like, a football thing. So that would be, I say, 4:05, and he said, look, there's the moon. This was in the summer.
Yeah.
There's the moon. Just like it was just in the staff canteen, nowhere to go.
Maybe they've just got
knocking
different
about.
contract arrangements. Maybe the moon's on a 0 hours contract and can do as many as it
Oh,
wants.
yeah.
Whereas the sun's on a strict work to rule.
Maybe the
PAYE.
moon has appointments and thinks it's not worth going home.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just hang around at work.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
It's not the texting that we thought we would have this morning when we started the show. I'm not sure we did think we would have one, but here it is. We've got some more things that are available from Cobblers.
Oh, excellent.
Hi, Frank and team. I believe Cobblers also sell hip flasks and Zippo lighters too.
Wow, for people making their own Molotov cocktails.
Yes, and that's from Jenny Mackenzie in Hemel Hempstead, the hometown twinned with Germany, Neuisenberg.
Noisenberg,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's because it follows onto a different line, so it's quite hard to read that. It's not my bad.
Don't come here with your cheap excuses.
And the other
The
magic
man who
roundabout.
said
she
Doctor
says.
Hugh.
Yeah, that was a doctor called Hugh. That's who I meant. I went to the Cobblers the other day for a watch battery and discovered they also fix phone screens. Is there no end to these people's talents?
No, I think what they've done is that most people don't get their shoes mended now. They just get a new pair of shoes.
Right.
So they've diversified, and they've just carried on adding things that they do at that shop. It's brilliant. We could all learn from this.
I wonder
When you get after that, when that gig was going bad last night, you could have.
I thought I could just leave all this.
You could have joggled.
Yeah.
diversified, just washed up, picked up some few plates.
I was just so...
Do people still do that? Here's a question for a texting. I'd like to know if there's anyone listening who ever was unable to pay in a restaurant and did the washing up.
Dishes.
Has that ever really happened?
That's surely the stuff of legends.
I think it is, but I've never met anyone who's done that.
No, I've left without paying by accident.
Yeah, sure you have.
Yeah, Your Honour.
Yeah.
And did you wash up by accident?
I thought the other one had paid.
Also, if that happens, if someone doesn't have the money to pay for their meal and they end up washing up, what happens to the person whose job it is to wash up? Do they then get sacked for the night, or do they still get paid? I used to wash dishes in a pub.
Yeah, because what happens is you're rewarding the person who normally washes up.
Yeah.
But what have they done? I went in one of those sushi virgin restaurants, you know, where you eat
Is that a
sushi off a
thing?
naked woman. I didn't take a penny with me.
I like to sit in sushi restaurants with a conveyor belt that have the little conveyor belt of sushi and pretend I'm a giant fish coming back from my holidays awaiting my luggage.
Nice.
And then I have a pretend argument with my fish partner and go, I'm sure we packed the double prawn. I spend a lot of time alone.
No, it's all right. Don't go into, I told you don't go into that.
It's not your birthday. Not your birthday.
It is my birthday.
Yeah.
It's my birthday.
Have you had any gifts?
No, I've had some cake, which is lovely.
Well, you weren't
Thank
going to
you.
get gifts here. You have to be more
No,
regular.
I know.
Sorry. Can't just drop
On air,
in.
on air, Frank, on air.
I know, but you can't just do the week
My
that
high
it's your
prune
birthday.
diet.
Do lots of temporary jobs during your birthday to get the gift. I think you're supposed to bring in cake. That's how it was when I was working in an office.
Is that what you did on your...
People
Really?
used to bring in a tray of profiterole sometimes.
I wasn't going to do profiteroles at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Why not?
Come home after my horrific gig.
Well, don't tell me you
and
could
then
sleep
pipe
after that
cream
gig.
into profiteroles.
I thought you'd be glad someone took your mind off it. Couldn't you just peel some of the ones off your back that the audience threw?
It was
Yeah.
sausage rolls.
Oh, sausage roll. So I've been happy with that. I like them when they're soaked in tears. Gives them a bit of...
Profiteroles. Soaked in tears.
You know, I used to think they were called profiter rolls. It
Oh,
took me
yeah.
ages before I realised it was one long word.
Profiteroles.
That's too long. What else?
What are you getting for your birthday, do you know?
Hopefully, I'm getting a dive computer.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds a big gift.
What is that? Like a waterproof?
It's like a dive watch that you wear when you go scuba diving.
So an undersea computer?
An undersea computer.
Whoa, I
Yeah.
never even heard of those.
Yeah.
And when you switch it on, does it go...
And it doesn't have a wind at the side. It's got a mini periscope.
No.
You're making it up
I
now,
am
aren't you?
making up. But you know what? You don't have to turn them on. They are so clever. When you jump into the water, they automatically come on.
That is clever.
But what does
Pretty
it...
awesome,
is it
isn't
like
it?
it's like an Apple...
No. It sort of it tells you how deep you are and how long you've been down there and
Yeah.
when you should come up and
But can you get the internet generally on
not
it?
just generally. No, the reception's
You
pretty
couldn't
bad
do
on it.
Candy Crush?
No, I can't do Amazon shopping while I'm down there.
It's
Okay.
for diving. It's
Yeah.
like a tool for...
Yeah, I thought it was like an Apple, an underwater Apple watch.
No, it's more like a watch, like a big watch with buttons and stuff.
Big
I don't know
rubbery
how to
strap
use-
to go
yeah.
around a wetsuit type thing. That
Oh, all
kind
right.
that kind of caper.
You
It's
know
a proper
what?
gadget. It's a gadget for
You
legends.
know I don't like putting my face in the water. You keep going on about it. Well, I've never even heard of that before, a dive watch.
Well, I'll be very happy. Well, I think that's what I'm guessing. If it's not there when I get home, there'll be...
No, that's going to be
there's gonna
rubbish
tears.
if
yeah.
it's just one of those. You know those like necklaces that you with candy.
Yeah,
If it's just one of those,
and a book token.
you misunderstood the
Oof.
box. Oh man, I don't even want to think about it. Too late.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
There was a thing in the paper this week. living in London is often stressful and difficult to find places. I don't know whether you saw the story of a woman who went to see a room in Clapham.
Oh, yes.
Went to see a room in Clapham. I think it was advertised as a flat share. And she got there, and the guy was showing her around.
500 quid a month.
500 quid a month, which that's
reasonable.
Is that reasonable?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
that? Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And when she got there, the landlord was showing her around and opened essentially a cupboard door, and there was the bedroom, if you can call it that. It was a bed in what would be the place where you'd normally keep your Hoover, I guess.
Yeah.
It was what I think people refer to as the cupboard under the stairs.
The cupboard under the stairs.
It's the place where traditionally people were put for punishment, wasn't it? You were sent
naughty
to the
cupboard.
Certainly, I speak now for the S&M community. I'd be happy to live there.
And 500 quid, and there was she tweeted a picture of it. This is where it became big news this week, because it went all around Twitter, and it was just a single mattress, I would say a sort of Quaker single mattress. It looks smaller than a single mattress.
Yeah.
And a pillow and a box. And, but the landlord did qualify this by saying they were looking for somebody who didn't want to spend their whole time in their bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I suppose,
true.
Unless you're a minion.
Well, it was one of those things that, you could stand at the tall end. I mean, this is the thing with the cupboard under the stairs. It has got a tall end, a tall wall.
I mean, there's sleeping under the eaves, and then there's sleeping under the stairs, isn't it? That's yeah.
It's very romantic. I like sleeping under the stars.
No, it was romantic because
I'll kill that typist.
It was romantic because she had to share the room with Henry, the Hoover.
If you wanted to, what would be great if she sublet, if she bought it, and then thought you could get two people on this mattress.
Turn it into a mezzanine.
If you bought like an enormous ornate fan, like a Spanish lady would use, then open that in the middle of the room, it'd be the right shape to separate it into
partition.
Yeah,
brilliant.
I like the fact that you're sleeping in a wedge-shaped room, though.
Wow.
I think I'd wake up every morning and go, Wedgend! You'd be known as the Wedgend.
It can be a nightmare finding somewhere to live, though, in London. I went through a phase years ago. I call it my blue period. I'd split up from somebody, and we'd have
join the Smurfs.
Yeah, I'd join the Smurfs.
Doing a lot of dirty jokes.
Yes.
Yeah, circulation problems.
My droopy white hat, and
He's going out with Anthony Costa, wasn't he?
That was it. And I had to find a room really quickly, and I didn't have a lot of money. I was at drama school and doing a bit of waitressing and that sort of thing, and I saw some proper horrible places today. I ended up renting a room in a house of a woman who was very much into alternative medicines and the alternative sort of aspect of life. Yes, and I used to come home at night and she'd have feng shuied my room for it to be more auspicious for me.
Well, you see, that wouldn't happen if you'd been in the cupboard under the stairs.
No, you couldn't feng shui that,
She could have moved the coats round.
No.
Also, the coats.
Yeah.
There was coats hanging in there.
In the
They go, do they, if you hire the room?
I don't know whether they come with the room.
Do the hooks become yours?
That's
Where do you put your clothes?
Space.
I didn't like the idea of you being asleep and then the other housemates just opening your bedroom door to put their coat up when they get back.
I think you must get the hooks, so you sleep under your own clothes.
Imagine that is your negotiating starting point. Do I get the hooks?
Yeah.
Does it come with the hooks or not with the hooks?
I know I'd get obsessed with hanging my clothes in such a way that it's a straight line at the bottom.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'd have like pants at one end and overcoat at the other. See myself buying a pair of +4s just to fill that awkward gap.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alun, Cochrane and Zoe Lyons. Text the show on 81215. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Do you owe people money for that now? Like last week we were talking about happy birthdays.
I think that one, it's quite old, isn't it?
Is it in the public domain, that? All right,
well, we'll soon find out. I don't mind giving them a few quid.
Hey,
I'll pay them when they come to the house, singing it at Christmas.
Yeah.
It's about that time of the year, though, isn't it? Where
You start. Close, isn't it?
I walked past a very well-known department store not far from here the other day, and there were Christmas trees in the top window.
Yes, I love it.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know. When people say that thing about, oh, I can't believe they got stuff in Tesco's in October. Has anyone ever gone back to work and they've said, do you have a nice Christmas? Well, to be honest, it was ruined by the fact there was Christmas trees in Tesco in October. No one's ever said that. It's fine. It's a special time of the year. Let's make it as long as possible. Next.
Positive thinker, you aren't you?
No,
I did look at the £500 a month for the cupboard under the stairs, and they advertised the flat as furnished. The room is furnished.
Perhaps it does leave the coats.
So I think the coat hooks are there for the taking.
The hooks?
Yeah, part of the deal.
But the actual, perhaps you get the coats.
No, I don't think the coats are furniture. I think coats, they're miscellaneous items.
That's interesting.
Unless
there's
they've
probably an
listed the coats
inventory.
as drapes.
Yeah.
I like the fact...
If coats are on hooks, do they qualify as furniture? Fixtures and fittings.
Is this a philosophy question?
Yes, it is.
If coats are on hooks. I like the fact that you're so keen on the hooks, obviously. As a member of the S&M community, you're keen to know what you can use and what
not. I'm hoping to
not.
put them about 1.5 inches above my nipples and just hang there all night like A Man Called Horse. I don't know if you remember that fabulous film. Maybe it didn't get into the mainstream. I got to tell you, I would happily live in a cupboard under the stairs.
Would you?
Yeah, I've fantasised about living in tiny, tiny minimum space. If ever you see those really tiny things that are like the end of a block, I always think, oh, I'd love to live.
Oh, yeah.
I spent the night in a very small lighthouse once. My girlfriend had a sort of what is it, claustrophobic fit.
Oh, yeah.
But I loved it. I loved the snugness.
Right.
I lived in a bedsit in Birmingham, and one day I lay on the floor, sort of starfish, like Vitruvian Man, like a starfish, and I could reach everything I owned.
That's handy
That's
then,
good,
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes housework a lot easier.
Very
I didn't do any of that.
user-friendly, isn't it?
If you can hoover your entire place using one plug, I think that's all you need.
Well, I didn't have a bed there. I had a mattress on the floor. I started off with a bed frame that broke, and I replaced one leg with a tin of baked beans.
Brilliant.
And then one night, I just had to have the tin of baked beans, so I ate the leg of my bed. And then I chopped the frame out and just slept on the mattress on the floor. And it became a point where on two sides, it was completely joined to the wall by cobwebs.
That's nice.
There was you couldn't see the floor. It was like I had a webbed section.
Did that not bother you as you were going off to sleep? You think, oh, all those spiders are going to come out and just crawl across.
I don't mind at night.
Don't mind that at night?
No.
Have you ever stayed in one of those hotels that are like a pod?
I never have, but I'd love that.
I'd quite like that, I think.
I like the idea. I like the fact that the cupboard under the stairs is a right-angle triangle-shaped room. I know I'd probably buy a protractor just to comfort myself, with the eternal truths of mathematics just before I went to sleep.
You think it'd feel a bit like you were asleep in a massive doorstop?
Well, it'd be the only thing you could do for entertainment.
Legend.
Hard to hang a telly anywhere in a room like that, isn't it? So you would have to entertain yourself with
Who needs a telly? Says TV
concept
star
of
Frank
maths.
Skinner.
Yeah, I'd have a mural in there. You could have the ascent of man with on all fours in the pointy corner low bit, and then coming into Homo erectus.
To be honest, if I slept in a room under the stairs, there would be a scent of man.
That's excellent.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much.
Can I say, though, by way of texting, that I once went into a bedsit in Birmingham, which I lived in, and on the wall someone had painted in very thick paint the cover picture of Yes's Tales from a Topographic Ocean.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember that.
I know that one.
They've reproduced it quite badly on the wall. And I'd like to know it, and if anyone's listening who has inherited any sort of wall art or something in their home, like my bathroom, I'll tell you about maybe just a little later.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
Sorry, I just had a big sort of Doc Holliday type coughing fit. he had consumption, to be fair.
Right. And you don't? We think.
I don't know.
I mean,
Do
there's
people
no
still
doctor
get
in the room.
consumption? I don't know.
I think it's like saying paper shop, isn't it? Consumption.
Consumption.
It's probably called something else by now.
It's TB, isn't it?
Could be.
Is it?
Isn't that what
But I don't think
consumption is?
TB's called TB anymore.
TB or not TB?
Not TB
That's
anymore.
that is the... Anyway, what I was saying about inheriting things is in the last house I lived in, I had the entire... You know when you move and you think, I'll be here forever? And I had the entire bathroom in navy blue tiles and white tiles. I recreated a blue and white striped bathroom. And then I commissioned an enormous tile with the West Bromwich Albion crest on for the centre piece in the bathroom. And then I left after about, like, a couple of years. And the person who took over, I think it was from Portugal or something, I don't know what. I wonder if I'd love to know if it's still there.
You didn't...
People go down and say, what's the thrush? What is this thrush badge? And he has to explain it, if he even knows what it is.
You didn't feel tempted to remove tile and replace with miscellaneous tile?
You can't take tiles.
One
can you?
tile. Yeah,
Didn't he start the
petty.
peasants' revolt?
One tile.
One tile.
One tile. That was what, Tyler? Sorry.
Very good.
Yeah, so I would like to know if anyone's inherited. I looked at a house once there's a place in London called Little Venice,
Oh, yeah.
and it had a swimming pool, this house. I
yeah.
thought this could be... I couldn't swim at the time. I thought this could change my life, this house. And they had an enormous mural. I mean, a massive... Like, it looked like a fabulous Greco-Roman mural, except it was Mickey Mouse's face.
Oh.
It was like... It's about 10 foot across.
What, around the swimming pool?
Above the swimming pool, so you're always swimming under the mouse. Yeah.
Swimming under the Mickey.
It should really be...
Yeah, that's how that does sound. Yeah, I've heard he's swimming under the Mickey. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'd like to know what anyone's inherited. Although a swinging chair. I looked at a place in Birmingham and it had like a sphere that you sat in. You know, that you used to get on The Prisoner.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember
Oh,
The
yes.
Prisoner? And suspended from the ceiling. And
Not
the
a love swing.
And the bloke...
No.
Well,
Well,
lost maybe. Lost.
it'd have to be a good
Was it in
shot.
the basement?
And you have to make it... you swing from it and sit in the sphere with like your legs crossed. And he said, we're leaving that. You know, it was a bit of a lure. I had a horrible feeling I'd be in it one night, swinging wildly, and then it'd go like a Newton's cradle. I wouldn't be able to stop. I'd be trapped there forever with motion sickness, vomit spraying in an arc, a regular arc across the room, me terrified. Oh no.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
So, Zoe's not the only person who's had slightly tough gigs this week. Katy Perry ended up with a fan on stage. KP, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not Kevin Peterson.
No.
Katy Perry ended up with a fan up on stage, and she started hugging and kissing her, and had to be sort of put back into the audience. She was a bit drunk, I think, or maybe other. Katy
Yes.
Perry described her as rolling. She said, "I think she's rolling," which,
That rock slang for...
I think so. Yeah, it means something other.
I think it means, on a certain drug. I don't
Right,
like the
yeah.
idea that Katy Perry, essentially a children's entertainer, is familiar with drug parlance.
Well,
Yeah.
if you see the footage, the woman did come up on stage, was wearing a bra top where the two baskets, shall we say,
Let's say baskets.
breast baskets were...
Bread baskets.
bread baskets were acid house faces. Acid. So that might have been a giveaway.
Yes. Smiley.
straight
Let's call
off.
them smiley faces.
Smiley
Yeah.
faces.
She might have been a fan of Alun Moore.
Yes. Or maybe it was just in homage to the moon.
But yeah,
Maybe.
both moons. in
Both
fact.
moons.
Yeah, it's a good job she didn't opt for the old the crescent.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would have been a bit...
Revealing.
Yeah.
or the toenail moon, as I like to call it. That time the moon looks just like a toenail.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
But I think where KP went wrong, though, is inviting somebody up on stage. Don't
Yeah,
do
never.
that.
No,
Don't
that's
do
an
that.
error, unless you're conducting a
No.
quiz.
Yeah.
You love a
Well,
quiz,
as a
don't you?
comedian, if you're ever doing a gig and the compere goes, "Come on up," then you think, well, that's it. That is the gig lost.
Yeah,
as
I don't-
soon as audience is on that stage, it is their show.
Katy Perry's she's an attractive woman, don't get me wrong, but she's got a bit of the person in the moon about her. You can imagine dressing up the moon to look like a convincing Katy Perry. Don't you think?
I'm not sure.
Can you?
She's got a
Can you and do you?
circularity of face.
A slight circularity of face.
Yeah.
A
With a moon
slightly
face.
bulbous nose. If I'm,
Well,
I mean,
now
only
you've gone
slightly.
too far.
I mean, listen. If we're talking about noses, I've got a cracker. I've got a massive nose, so I feel like
Wouldn't say that.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big.
I can't
Oh,
even.
it balances out because mine's tiny, so we've probably between us got
Yeah.
two normal
Enough
sizes.
nose. There's enough
So
nose in the
if
room.
you two conduct this show
Sure.
like the ABBA girls back to back,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you look like a claw hammer.
Yeah. Pickaxe profile. Yeah.
I got up once. I was watching Blackfoot Sue at Birmingham Town Hall.
Is that Bigfoot?
Remember her? Blackfoot Sue were a band. They had
Alright.
one enormous hit called "Standing in the Road," and then I didn't hear from them again. But anyway,
Is it a road safety song?
So I went. They were supporting the Kinks, I think, at the Town Hall, and so they came on. I said they had a hit out. I was quite excited. So you used to get that run to the front of the stage. So I was in the front row. So I got up and ran to the front of the stage. No one at all came with me.
Oh.
So I ended up just sort of with my elbows on the stage, watching them on my own, feeling. I did a bit of dancing at first, and then felt too self-conscious. And in the end, the security bloke just walked across and said, "Do you want to sit down, mate?" I said, "Yeah, I will." And I was so glad he'd come over because it gave me a legitimate reason to sit. But oh God.
I got squished at the front of a Pogues concert once and had to be dragged out.
But at least you were other people had gone up.
I remember being really embarrassed because I was wearing a really awful acrylic yellow jumper. I remember thinking this wouldn't.
With a smiley face on.
Not with a smiley face.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just inappropriate Pogue wear.
You're quite right. That is not very
Not very
pogues.
pogy.
Unless it was you'd gone as one of Shane's teeth.
Yeah, his last tooth.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Shall we? I'll tell you what I was going to say on the Katy Perry front. I went to see at the NEC in Birmingham many years ago Diana Ross,
Oh, yeah.
and she at one point stepped off the stage bravely. She had a single red rose. I can't remember where she got it from now. I think she said, you remember she played Billie Holiday? I think she did the song Holding a Rose or something. Mm-hmm. And she stepped and there was a woman in a wheelchair.
Right.
And Diana Ross went over to her and gave it to the woman in the wheelchair, and it got an enormous burst of applause because it suggested that Diana Ross had, cared for the disabled and stuff like that, and she was a good person, and so we were able to express our love and admiration for her soul as much as anything else. And then when I was leaving the NEC after, we stayed for a drink and stuff, they were loading up the trucks, and I saw a wheelchair being loaded onto the truck.
Oh, no.
Now, that could have been any reason for that. Maybe, Diana liked to get completely smashed at her. But I did wonder if she toured with the wheelchair. Someone in her entourage sat in there. Yeah. And it was that she did that moment at every gig. I mean, in that, because nowadays I know it from your social networks.
Yeah.
But if anyone saw Diana Ross not at the NEC in the 70s and she did that, please let us know.
One of the more specific textings we've ever
It is. And I don't know how many Rossi fans we get, Diana Ross, but she was, she was also someone who did the hits in medley form because she was bored with doing them.
Oh, right. So she
So she
Ran
does
them all
them up.
together.
Yeah.
Just run them through.
Yeah, I felt a bit
had a
cheated
remix.
by that. But yeah, I mean, it's a little bit cynical if she had someone playing a wheelchair lady.
Why else
so she could
would
give
they
her
be
a rub.
loading a wheelchair?
Well, like I say, then then maybe they just pick one up on the. Maybe she healed people.
And the woman didn't need
The woman
it.
the rose and she
Woman
walked
says
out.
you keep that if you
She
like.
disco danced out of there.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe it's another woman another night got up and touched the hem of Diana Ross's garment
Mm-hmm.
and was cured and said, you know what, you can keep that. You know, put it on eBay or something. And Diana Ross said, well, there's no such thing as eBay. I don't have an internet at the moment. She said, well, hold on to it. And then she went. Halfway down the road, flat on her face, thought, you know what?
I was just a bit tipsy.
I wish now, looking back, I'd have kept that. What can you do? I'm not gonna phone Diana Ross and ask for it back. She'll be gone. She'll be long gone.
She'd be ex-directory as well, so it makes no sense.
Yeah. Do you think ex-director? I forgot that existed. Brilliant.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Oh, by the way,
what it's
we've
called.
had a text from Nathan. Hi, Frank and team. I live in Kirriemuir in Scotland. We are twinned with Volvic in France, and our local cobbler sells Airfix models. They also do photocopies.
Do they? Airfix models. I forgot they
Yeah.
even
How much do you pay
exist.
for a photocopy as well these days?
How much do you
I
pay for an
wonder.
Airfix model?
It used to be 10 pence for a photocopy, didn't it? But
Did it?
I did a Viking once, Airfix model. It must have been about 14 inches high. Mm-hmm. I used to get the paint and everything. So I did him, and overnight I hadn't put enough stuff on the soles of his sandals.
right.
And he was leaning right back, the Viking, like he was about to gob. Like a really long, the longest gob he could do. It was like that. And you couldn't really put him back without breaking him, so I just painted him. I had this,
Leaning back.
I had this leaning Viking on my...
Is that how they finally fell, the Vikings? Just
Oh, it's how they
out
fell.
of their own sandals.
yeah, that's it, they just... He
They
looked
didn't have
like
a
he
Pritt
was
stick.
like he had a mate on the top of a building calling to him, and he was looking up. But of course, buildings weren't that high then,
True enough.
so it didn't work. Anyway, anything else from the outside world?
Yeah, I could tell you an email that we've received. Hi all, you were talking about fly
Hi
tipping
all.
recently. Let's get over that,
So I'm
shall
a
we?
bit worried so far.
Yeah. We were talking about fly tipping because you've been the victim of some fly
Oh
tipping, haven't you?
yes. So
What's happened?
I had a vacuum cleaner, a Pia, and then a wooden chair.
No, that's what happens. See, that's what happens with fly tipping. Once the seal's been broken,
Yeah.
Yes,
with the old fly tipping, then it's just anything goes.
people think
It
yes.
goes vacuum cleaner, chair, mattress,
Mm-hmm.
and mattress, and then of course
Not looking forward to that.
if you let the mattress go, if you leave that for over a few days, bang, sofa.
Frank doesn't do that though because he just puts the mattress under his stairs and then rents it out for £500 a month. He's got that
Small
covered.
family under the.
I might be glad of that little cupboard under the stairs. You know, post-argument.
Anyway, you were talking about fly tipping. Last year we moved house and had a dilemma regarding how to get rid of our piano. First world problems.
Yeah.
We tried selling it and giving it away, but no one wanted it. Reluctantly, we decided to dump it. We phoned the council and they said to us, oh, you should leave it outside your house and we'll take it away in the morning. Aside, they didn't say, oh, but I thought that was the form on your show.
Yes, they turn round and they said, oh.
So with help from...
That's a bit sad, isn't it? Just to interrupt
It is
that
a bit
nobody
sad, yeah.
wanted a free
piano.
piano.
Yeah. So
You offer them Alco Pops, that's your hand.
they'll take your arm off, but a piano...
That's the modern world.
It's almost as though there's a difference in how mobile those two items are, isn't
No,
it?
but it's about priorities. That's
think
if
it's
anyone
priorities?
says to you what's gone wrong with the world, tell them that story. No,
You can't get rid of a free
no
piano.
to piano, yes to Alco Pop.
With help from a friend, we manhandled it outside and left it in front of the house. About half an hour later, we heard Furry Lees. Is that the name? How you would say that?
Oh yes,
Being played outside.
Beethoven.
Is it?
It's the one that goes dun 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 dun
I think you might owe some
dun.
money to the Beethoven estate now.
Could have been a mobile ringtone.
It's all right. He won't hear it.
Yeah, true enough. We found two young lads there having a play. They didn't speak much English. We take it, one asked, pointing, slightly redundantly at the piano. We told them to ask their parents. We did, it's okay. OK then, bring your mum or dad along and you can have it. 10 minutes later, their dad arrived with a decent-sized car and off they went with it. Gone within an hour. As Frank would say, marvellous.
Yeah.
Best, Alun.
But you noticed they were from overseas.
More cultured. And more cultured.
Sarah Lee's is always strikes me, it's a bit like a sort of an on the toilet tune. I don't want to end the show on a low note, but it always sounds like it's going dun 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 dun. So that's where my theory is. That's where Beethoven wrote it.
On the bog.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much, Zoe, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
This morning. Happy birthday
Thank
again.
you, my love.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, my love.
And thank you all for listening. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.